Right, myself, Sarah, Michelle, and Dominic. 99% chance Tommy's going to turn up. I'm betting on the 1% he doesn't. But anyway,
Me too.
talking of souls, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. NDA, old souls, what the soul is, everything to do with souls, not shoe souls, body souls. Right, we'll see you in 2 minutes.
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Please like, share and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Press like and subscribe.
Welcome. Where the paranormal becomes normal. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole. And into the unknown.
Hello and welcome. So, we are joined by Michelle, Dominic, Sarah,
Hello.
and we are going to be talking about souls. And it was, whose idea was it?
Not mine. I never know. I just show up.
Dominic.
Dominic.
I'm over
Dominic.
here.
I did point toward her.
Yeah, but you pointed against the actual way that I actually am because you got it the opposite way around.
You're in my bottom right. I'm in the top left.
Yeah, I'm in the
There is
bottom.
above you. Michelle's
bottom.
below and at the side of you.
Yeah, well, I'm bottom right on mine.
Yeah, you are on there.
I think I'll just no. I'll,
Look, here.
Should we
Yeah.
start again?
there we go. No.
I
Right,
don't know,
so
round the twist.
so it's going out on TikTok live,
Oh.
but people on TikTok can't see this. They can see me and this, so they can hear everything. So,
And
that's
what
it.
can they see?
sorry?
They can see all four of us. What can they see?
No, just the phone is pointing at me.
Gotcha.
Just
Oh, so
like-
they can only hear this wonderful Southern accent
Yes.
that's oozing
Oh.
through the.
What I'm trying to do is entice the TikTok viewers to come to YouTube so they can see everything
Oh.
and join in.
And now
I'm
you've
gonna
told
try
them
and
they
find
won't.
Probably not. So,
There you are.
yeah.
Oh, that's what. Wow.
Yeah, let me unblur this background. Hang on. There you are, Andy.
Hey, hi. Say hello to myself. That's weird.
Well, that's not fair because I sound like I'm probably some bumpkin with her hair sticking out with hay and like I just crawled off the mountain or something.
I thought you had.
Really? I just got the hay out of my hair before I came on.
Well,
No.
you could say just
Very
click your
nice.
red shoes together, your heels together, and we'll fly off. That would be a sort of a Wizard of Oz sort of thing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. There's no place like home. There's no.
There you go. Perfect. That could have been her.
Come on, Toto. We're not.
Was it not?
Anymore? That's if she got lost and got dropped in East Texas.
Right. Anyway, moving on to what we're supposed to be doing, people.
We can unfocus for a minute.
Can't get the staff, can you? Right. So first of all, so the investigation that we did at Staley Vegas the other week, Staley Bridge to anyone else who doesn't know it,
Yeah.
I sent some of the images to Dominic. He said he wasn't asked with a couple of them, but there's one that really intrigued him.
Absolutely.
He didn't actually use them words, but he said there's one. In his head, he probably did. But he said there's only one that really interests him because, and I'll let Dominic explain the reason behind it.
Yeah, the face in the tree, I mean, it could be pareidolia, of course, and we always must allow for that on things that come in that sort of line. But I've seen the face before, and it was 47 years ago. And where I saw it was inside a window in the condensation, and it was exactly the same face. So what the story is that the devil leaves his mark somewhere in the world every single day. And if you look at this face in the tree, you might actually see the face of what someone might actually determine as a devil. And if that's the case, that's a place where he's left his mark on that investigation. So it was, I mean, the image I saw when I saw it on the inside of a window was a full image, body, legs. It was the whole picture of a little imp, like devil figure. But the face was exactly the same as it is in that tree.
Right. So that one is a zoomed in of when me and Tony was stood in front of the tree.
And we're talking about Chucky face, not the one in the darkness, right? Because
we're talking about. 1 second.
I think I'm on that one as well, but I
that
look like
one. It can look like an infant intro uterus, and then the
So that's the original image.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple more. I think Ada and Simon were taking photos. Mm-hmm. So between them, this is what they come up with. I know we keep going on about it, but this is for Dominic's benefit and Michelle, because Michelle's not seen these since we did the live. So it'll be the last time we talk about them, unless someone really wants to.
But on the last podcast too, when we talked about it.
Ah, yes.
I sent them. And then I talked to Simon.
Yes, you did. Sorry, I've slept since, and I've had a really crap week.
But have you?
No, probably not. No. So that
face haunts me.
Like
it literally.
That bit is my ear. That's my ear, and going down into my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ignore that.
It's very well defined, isn't it? That one.
What, me ear?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're talking about. A whole show about your ear. Yeah.
No, but it is though. It's just the way it comes out. It's like 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
For me, I've seen pareidolia. I've seen it in hundreds of photos people sending me.
I don't even know what
people
that
have sent them to other people and sent them across to me for my opinion. This is not pareidolia.
What is that? What is pareidolia?
When you see faces in natural objects like trees, clouds, rock, sand, coffee.
Everything has a face on it of some sort.
It's like you get the imprint of Jesus on a piece of toast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you look at a wooden panel and you can pick out faces from a wooden panel, or a brick wall. Mm-hmm. You know, most people can see something in those sort of images. It's our natural defensive mechanism to actually be able to spot danger, and it comes from our sort of ancestry.
Yeah, it's like Larry's just put that part. It does look like a black and white photo of a person. You got the definition of the hair. You can see like
a baby
you can see the depth.
I thought Chucky at
you
first
can see the depth.
Yeah,
you can see the depth of it. It's not just.
Looks like a baby to me.
Yeah, I thought of a late
sonogram
like after I got away from Chucky and thought about it. That's what I had thought.
I wonder if we all see different things in it. When I looked at it, I actually got recall from that face I saw when I was younger. You know, it's over 47 years, and it still sticks in your mind enough to know what it looked like. So I never thought I'd see that again in anything, and there it is.
Sorry.
So it's I mean, when you see things that are copies of something, it makes you wonder how that copy came to be.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So whereabouts
Even
did you see that face before? Like what location? Was it anywhere near where they were?
No, not really. It was in a classroom when I was at school. In fact, I mean, the whole, loads of, all the schools saw it because it was the talk of the school.
Wow.
And I was I about 14 at the time, so it was a few years back. But the image stays with you, and I wrote a whole piece about pareidolia and also included these things as an example. And all this does, if I'd have had this picture previously, would have enhanced the fact that these images get left. And for some reason, I mean, whether they're imprints, whether they're images, if you went back to that same location, would you see that same sort of face in that tree, or would it have changed? Because quite often these imprints change, and they alter.
If you look at this, sorry, I've zoomed right. You can see the lip. You can clearly see like that's the top lip curving round, and then you've got, I don't know what you call that bit.
The filtrum.
Right.
That
here.
And you've even got the shadows in the right place for everything. Look at the eye, the shape of the eye. It's just
so. What if this
detailed
here? What if it was a person who died young and got reincarnated and then went to another place and died? Like, what if it is the same thing in different time periods?
Could be.
Like what if this one was before Dominique's one? This one died young. Like, I think it's Nathaniel.
Yeah.
What if he died young? So as an infant. So what if he died as an infant and that was imprinted there, and then he was reincarnated, and then Dominique saw him? And what if he died again? And what if that spirit was there to die young over and over?
Only one thing about that, Michelle, is that I don't believe that there's time. I think that there's you can traverse time anywhere you want. So everything's happening at once rather than individually at different stages. Mm-hmm. And if you get to that point where you're looking at something like that, that is something you might see in a crystal ball or a glass of water if you were scrying. Yeah, it's something you could actually come across. But very rarely would you see something like that on a tree.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that on a tree.
I've
got hundreds of photos of trees. Nothing.
Andy, I have seen different faces in trees.
I've seen faces in trees, but not that level.
When I get in
we need to go back.
Absolutely. Eyes and
I want
faces.
you to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I can go back. We'll go back with the girls because it's Staley Vegas.
Sorry, Michelle, I didn't mean to cut across you.
No, it's fine. I actually think the spirit is drawn to men. If I go back out, I would take a man with you. Also,
yeah, I was thinking Sarah because she's a midwife.
Maybe.
And you saying the same. A couple of other people said it as well.
That baby is connected to that dark man that's there too. They're connected.
Okay, I don't think it's a baby. I think it's probably more like an imp or an elf or something like that.
Ooh, like a changeling.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
That hit me right in the chest. Like
when
he said that.
Oh, do you know what?
I got thumped in my chest when you said that. Don't do that. I don't like that. Like, it really felt like someone just like knuckle knocked my chest.
Right. Okay. But that's resonance for you. That's what happens when something is synchronized and it feels right, doesn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. It's your gut telling you.
I did it at the same time. I think we were both like, oh, ouch.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But you've got to remember that across the dimensional universe, there are many, many different entities, sentient beings that have different appearances. And there are shapeshifters and there's invisible cryptics. And, I mean, there's so many different things that we have to experience. And also the fact that these do leave imprints on familiar places so we can spot them. And they're sort of there in plain sight.
Yeah. I feel like all the answers are in plain sight. We don't know what we're looking for. We get so busy, or we're trained not to see them. I feel like every answer is in front of us.
We miss so much.
Yeah.
We really do. We don't actually, until we start really looking, we don't see very much. That's what I love, people to be able to train to sort of look at stuff properly, rather than just look at what they think they're seeing or what they expect to see. I like them to go in there and actually just go in there and just see, because a lot of times that things are right there and people just go straight past them.
Yeah.
So
shall I? Oh, go on. Sorry, Michelle.
I got a question actually about souls, because I'm going to stay on topic for a minute. So what is everyone's view? Like, since I was tiny, every old person always said I had an old soul. Oh, she's got an old soul. Like, it was like a pat on the head kind of thing. Like, it was a good thing. And I thought, oh, I got an old soul, but I never knew what that meant. Like, still to this day, I kind of know. It's like,
You've been here before.
What is like an old soul to you guys? Like,
for me,
who do you want to answer?
All of you. Ladies first.
Let's go in order. Let's go from the boss downwards.
Okay, Andy.
Who's that then? I was looking for him. I couldn't see anyone. For me, it's an old soul is someone that's been here before, but not just here, on different levels, different planes, but also has a lot of knowledge of what's going on and the reasons behind it, and how to communicate with, like, at other levels, like with the psychic mediumship. Being able to do that from one side of the world to the other is pretty mind-blowing. Well, it's effing amazing, to be honest with you. And it's knowing how to do, being able to do something without actually knowing how to do it. We're not having to think. It's just there. For me, that's what an old soul is. You have a lot more knowledge than a standard living person. Don't know how else to say it.
So, Sarah, what do you think an old soul is?
I kind of agree that, like, an old soul is definitely somebody. Sorry, I've just seen.
Sorry, that's funny.
Is there a joke here? Have I missed something?
Yeah, Dominic.
I'm out of the loop too. I don't know.
She
yeah, me too.
She steals from graveyards, I have to say.
Oh, no, don't. When Emma came in the chat, somebody said, "Is it Bindi Persist?"
Is it what?
Bindipa's sister.
Oh my gosh.
Bindi's
I'm not.
Okay.
I saved
Someone
it.
may or may not have acquired something on the outskirts of a cemetery that had been discarded, from what I've heard.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we get back to the old soul?
It was in a bin in a cemetery. And she thought, I'm having that. So she took it.
Ashes to ashes.
It was a basket. It was a basket.
So are you.
Basket.
Yeah. Anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Are we gonna go back to the original question?
Souls. So old souls. So I think it's someone who's been here before, and has lived a very, not necessarily many lives, but I think someone who has lived a very fulfilling past life. Maybe someone who's had a lot of knowledge from that. I mean, I haven't really got that's just the first thing that I think of, is it's just somebody who's been here before, is very, very old and wise, has learned a lot in their life, and has retained some of that knowledge in this one.
Okay.
Not necessarily consciously knowing what the knowledge is in that person, but somebody who, or some soul that has retained some subconscious intelligence, really.
Okay. I'll tell you what I think now.
Okay.
Yep.
If you're all dying to hear it. But I really don't believe in time.
No.
So I don't believe in old. I just believe in. So when people say old soul, it doesn't make sense to me. It's a paradox. All souls are ageless, timeless, and limitless. and everyone can tap into the knowledge of the soul, and they can go in there. They can go backwards or forwards. They can go into their future lives, then go into their past lives. They can actually access all the knowledge that's in that, what some people might class as the Akashic record, or what they might class as a personal record. But everything that you've ever done, everything you're ever going to do is in there. And if you learn to actually lower and calm your frequencies, you can go in there and access it. So I think there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to the soul. I think people just follow what certain people say because it sounds good. And there's a lot of little catchphrases like you're an old soul. I think in terms of what people say it, they say it because they think you're wise, you know, or you act like a grandma. I don't know. But it's something that really is senseless, meaningless to me when they say it. Whereas if you were to be taught how to access your soul, there's so much information in there. So why limit yourself just to going in there and just taking what you think you know?
But what if it's a new soul, if that's the thing? What if it's a soul that hasn't been anywhere, done anything?
No time.
It's just an awareness, having an awareness of what's going on.
Yeah, you've got to get your head around this time thing to actually understand it. Because as long as you're thinking in linear time, you'll never get what the soul is. As soon as you step out of linear time and put it into a circle, you'll start to understand that we can transcend that circle at any point. And that's really what we do as a soul. I mean, our soul could be in any life form, any sentient life form, anywhere in the universe. Is transferable. Our bodies decay, our bodies die, and our soul doesn't. It's it's eternal, it's universal, and it's very likely that we get lots of different experiences through that. But our belief structure has to fit into those.
Yeah.
Because if our belief structure says there is no aliens, you know, then where do we start to think about how the soul transverses the universe? It's the same as most people. If you ask them about angels, they would say they're these light beings that are maybe extraterrestrial. But as soon as you say, well, do you believe in aliens? And they say, well, no. So it's that contradiction in sort of understanding, which a lot of people have.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't laughing at you, Dom. So Blue Shift put something in the chat. And it was...
Well, share it with us.
So on then. So he's put James Brown. Now he had soul. My shoe has a soul, and I've got two souls.
Yes, well, I could say that he was something else as well, but I won't, because there's quite a lot of things that we can relate to within it, and we can talk about this on a serious level, on a really good level, or we can have a laugh of it. I don't mind either way.
A bit of both. I think a bit of both.
Yeah, but most people have a lot of
deep on it.
Yeah, if you want to go deep on the soul, then we can go deep. If you want to just touch the surface and mess around with it, then we can do that too.
No.
Dominic, I actually want us to have a conversation about it, because I'm in this threshold right now between, I always hated time. Like I don't even own a clock. My phone is my clock. That's it. I don't like mirrors because they always felt like doors, and I don't like clocks because I feel like I'm being shoved with a clock because it's not real. Like, time is, it never felt right. So I'm kind of in this section now where I actually said a couple days ago, I'm not getting older, I'm just decaying. Like the body is decaying. I'm not getting older, I'm maintaining young. I'm still full of everything or more than I was in my 20s. It's just this flesh that I'm stuck in is starting to decay. So I'm kind of in this threshold trying to deal with society who lives by man's impression, and how my inside knows that doesn't even exist.
Sure. I want to agree with you, but I don't want to insult you. The whole part of where that is within ourselves is a realization of understanding. And if we realize that we are probably energy, plasma energy, pure at our base, and that the bodies that we inhabit are decay and get old and die,
Right.
and then we release and go and do other things and have other lives and other existences, it starts to open up the possibilities of what this universe or multiverse is about. And if we don't do that, then what we do is we limit ourselves to a lot of the things that have been taught and doctrine that's been taught
Right.
that is probably a little bit misleading.
Right. I find Christianity harder, like baseline Christianity that I was taught, like through Baptists and things like that. I find it harder and harder the more I dive into the absolute like soul feeling, the gut feeling that I feel about time and all of these things, because they say, if you do this, then you're going to do this, and you're going to, it's all these set of rules. And then I know what my, I want to say gut, but I know for a fact these certain things.
Sure.
And then they don't, I just find it harder and harder to fit into society. The more that I learn about all of these worlds and all these dimensions and become more of a spiritual being instead of a flesh being, it's harder and harder to be around.
It's very hard to take people out of what they actually live in.
Yeah.
If you say to somebody, there is no time, they would find that hard to relate to.
Yeah.
If you said to somebody that you're eternal, they would find that really hard to relate to, because all they can relate to is the life that they're living right now.
Right.
But there's a reason why we believe in certain things. Certain people don't just believe in aliens because they believe in aliens. It's because of personal experience and maybe subconscious knowledge of where they've been and what they've been through. So a lot of our belief structures are based on the things that we don't always understand why we start them out. But that knowledge, like you said, is already there. And we just access it, and it's a knowing. And that's the basis of understanding. I think that if we can actually understand how we just understand stuff, just know stuff, and then we can talk. Because if we can share those experiences, then we each have a little piece of the puzzle, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Working together, is good too. When you figure out something, try to share it with others so that they can do the work to try to understand it. I find, the abuse that I take from other people is, which I don't actually take it. I might read it to hear what they say and then move on, but it's just amazing because everyone gets so scared when you start talking about infinity, your soul's infinity, and, and no concept of time, that time does not truly exist. It was made so we could work. It was made to, for that kind of purpose. Then they get so scared. Like, I can feel the fear come off of them. They are horrified, and they grab hold of their religion, or they grab hold of their, whatever beliefs they have. And it just amazes me the attacks that I get online and in person from people.
Well, that's because people are afraid and they are frightened. But all time it gives us something to work out duration, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's just for keeping track of what's going on, where and when. But is it possible for a soul to die?
If a soul is, I think a soul is more energy to me. So if an energy can diminish, so I suppose there's potential for a soul to diminish. But what keeps that up, I don't know. What keeps it going? What keeps that soul continuing on? I don't know. But I would have thought the soul could diminish.
Give you a few thoughts on this if you want. Just
before you do, I've got a theory on that. So like shadow people and the Hat Man and that feed on fear.
Yeah.
When a soul is taken, maybe it's them that are doing it. That's why they come when they do, through the cracks in the walls. And people that seen the Hat Man usually don't last that much longer.
Can I answer this before you take it any further? First of all, who says they feed on fear? I don't get that myself, right? I think that's a common misconception that people use. I don't think fear
seems to...
You don't let me finish.
The fear seems to make more, I suppose, not fear, but negative energy seems to
I don't
give them more.
Don't buy that. I don't
not?
buy that. No, I don't. Having been on hundreds of investigations and worked locations and seen things like shadow people, shadow ghosts, if you like, and tried to understand them. My understanding actually is that when a soul transcends, the negative energy remains. And that is what is the shadow person or the shadow ghost.
Right.
I've seen them. They're like when you see these entities, they're normally in corners of old buildings or places where dreadful deeds have been done, and their energy is a bit like. Do you remember the Peanuts cartoon with the child who's got that black cloud above the head?
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere they go. Well, the energy seems to be like that, and it seems to be very sort of like lots of particles of dust and black dust all running around. And these are almost like they run through you. And as they run through you, the emotion that you get is a real shocker. It takes your breath away. It creates quite a lot of emotion. And they are the negative energy that's left when a soul sheds that negative energy before it actually goes to the next life.
I've never thought of it like that.
That would make sense.
That's negative energy.
Yeah.
That's
like
the yuck.
That makes sense.
In my experience, it's only my experience I'm talking about.
I also think because in our investigation team, we're very big on positivity and keeping things up and uplifted and bright and colourful and like just very, very happy, very up there. Does negative energy, is it attracted to positive energy? Does it need?
No, it hides. It hides. It stays away
from the positive.
Yeah, what you'll find is if you go into an investigation with a really strong team of people that go in there with real positive intent, it'll be a great evening. You'll come out, you'll feel happy, you'll feel almost like rejuvenated when you come out, because what you're doing is you're attracting all that energy around you that's of the same level as you, the same frequency as you. If you go in there with a person that is depressed, that person that's depressed is going to get hit, because the lower entities are going to go straight in there and they're going to surround that person. That person's going to start getting very worried and very, very, very fearful. And I've seen people break down, have, crying fits, just go into themselves at that point. So I'd always say to anyone who's doing an investigation or has a group, make sure the people that you're working with are mentally fit. And like you girls, go in there with bright colors, big smiles, positive attitudes, and you'll get a great experience. You go in there, and I'll tell you, this changes every time. I used to lead groups around a place called Ghost House, and different groups have different energies. And I used to meet people that were really up for it, and we used to have great nights. And then I used to meet people that weren't. And they were really dire, and we're not going to see anything here, and this is pretty awful. And of course, that's what they create. And I think you manifest who you are within those
locations. Just going to say, manifestation, your brain is biased, isn't it? So if it looks for confirmation of what it's thinking.
Yeah, and I've said from the beginning on the one that we did the other day that was so good, if that whole group had not been so positive and so open-minded and everything, I don't think I would have been able to read as much. But everybody that was there believed, was open-minded, was not hyper. No one was negative. There was no one just like spun off bouncing or, over depressed or a naysayer. It was such a positive path. I was able to.
But Michelle, it's a cascade. If you're in a group of people that are down or a little bit low or not that knowledgeable, it brings people down to that level. If you're in a group of people that smile and have a laugh and are relaxed and encouraging, that haven't got egos themselves, that really helps, because you just come in and go, wow, well done. That's fantastic. Keep going. And, we can bring out the best in each other. Or we can bring out the worst. And I like to see people bring out the best in each other.
Yeah, because I did not one time, like in a normal, like when I go out and help these groups or whatever, I'll always hear someone in the background or feel them be like, yeah, right. yeah, there's a cat, or of course there's a cat. We're in the, country, but nobody really thought that. And nobody was like, oh my, oh my God, she can see a cemetery, or, whatever, or she read about it before.
Okay, Michelle, let's speak about it openly, about what remote viewing is. Would you like to explain a little bit about your ability and how you remote view? Because this could be very, very connected into souls, because you could be using your soul energy to actually remote view.
So I actually have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I just get this.
Do it.
I'm literally, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know to do things that I wouldn't normally do. Like, I know the time it's time to I have to get a pen and paper. Like, I did it on that. I'm like, I got to get some paper. Yeah. Like, I knew I had to get the paper. I had to get something. And I just it's almost like I'm not thinking. Sometimes I'm just sketching a line, and then that line turns into something.
Can I suggest something here?
Yeah.
Come in. Do you know when you're in a dream, you're in the dream state, your eyes are closed, aren't they?
Right.
Right. You are literally not able to do anything, are you? You're literally paralyzed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the best remote viewers are able to transfix that particular status, and they can stay in that trance, but they're also in a dream state.
Okay.
It's like a lucid dream. If you talk to Ingle Swan, who was the guy that really did this remote viewing from the start, he will always say to you, it's about being able to calm the mind and close the thought process, so you can actually allow anything to come in. And when you start to believe and trust what you get, that's when you do your best work, because you don't question it. It just is there. And that's like a lucid dream, isn't it? If you know you're dreaming, you can go anywhere you want, and only your imagination is sort of limited. And lucid dreaming, really, and remote viewing, as well as out of body, which people might, I think they're all very similar, very close together.
Mm-hmm. So I've had epilepsy, have since I was like 6 is when I was diagnosed. Well, there's these little seizures that are just like, you go in a trance, and you hear everything and you see everything around you, but you can't unfocus. And sometimes when I am really deep into the remote viewing, I'm fixed on the paper. I'm not really seeing the paper. I'm fixed on it, and I'm drawing. And it is just like when I have those mini seizures. And I've always wondered, because they didn't stop when they medicated me. And now that I'm off the medication, I've always wondered if now that I'm knowing things, if they are actually me trying to visualize something.
All you're doing is you're cutting through the layers of dimensions within that situation. But you also got to remember is that your consciousness is on a different level.
Okay.
It's a different vibration for people who have that. And the trouble is, we don't control it, because it happens because of something. It doesn't happen because we can control it.
Right.
If we could control it, then I think it would be a real aid. Shaman really practice drumming to quite a high extent to get into that emotional state of thought, to meet their gods, as they call it. So there's a lot of things going on with the vibration, the mind, the frequency, and also the energy that the person has. And I've come across quite a few people like yourself, Michelle, who are able to really concentrate their thoughts, and their epilepsy becomes a part of who they are, rather than something that they are trying to control.
Right.
But can I just say something on that? What you saying about the epilepsy? Because I know a few people that have had it. My granddad had it, and a couple of friends have got it, and they have different abilities to what everyday folk seem to have.
Mm-hmm.
They have not telekinesis, but they have some sort of being able to know what's going to happen. Very similar to what you was doing.
You mean premonitions and stuff?
Well,
but I'm talking like within the next couple of minutes.
Oh, okay.
Like they'll know that someone's going to come and knock on the door, or a certain vehicle will drive past, and things like that.
Yeah,
so is it because part of the brain
there's no
isn't
time?
quite tuned in. So there's other parts that are working
They're more
that
tuned
we
in.
don't have compared to someone who's got epilepsy does.
Yeah, maybe they're more tuned in than what we
Yeah.
are, because we only see a linear line, don't we? We just see the next thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Whereas people who can actually perceive something that's going to happen in the future, are they going through a time slip? Are they going into a different state of frequency? Or do they have perception that they sense it? A bit like birds sense a storm. You know, when the storm's coming, the birds all, go and roost, don't they?
Shoot
Go
off and hide somewhere.
Yeah, but they do it probably a good 2 hours before the storm.
Yeah, but same as cattle, cows, sheep, deer.
Yeah,
most animals.
Yeah.
What?
But I think that's a frequency, see, and cats as well. I think it's a frequency.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. He's talking about frequencies. I'm like, what are you throwing farm animals in here for? Like, but I can tell you, as the type of epilepsy that I have, like my grandmother has the same kind. It comes in that little juicy part in between your lobes, and it just kind of stops us. So we just pass out. We don't bite ourselves or anything like that. We don't move. We just are there, and then we don't. And the way the neurologist will tell you is that your brain gets overloaded by light or sound or smells or something. And so your brain says, no more. But we're not, like for me, I'm not out. I know everything plus some that has happened while I'm down, whether it be 30 minutes or 2 hours. I know what everyone did, even though I have no visual.
Yeah, but do you know that you're going to get an attack?
Yes, I know when it's happening.
So you get like pre-warning signs that go on.
Nothing is solid. There's nothing solid in the room. It all becomes as if I'm seeing it soft, and I get dizzy. And
like a dreamscape sort of thing.
Like if you spun around a lot, like you just spun, and then you stop, and everything.
It's all.
And then as it gets softer, your body actually goes whoop. And then you're soft.
When I was younger, Michelle, my parents thought I was epileptic because I could see colours. They thought that was what was going on with me.
Yeah.
But not only could I see colours, everything used to shrink. Mm-hmm. So I used to see the world like it was a doll's house.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing it the full size and the full sight, I used to see
Alice
everything.
in Wonderland.
Yeah, a bit like Alice in Wonderland. Everything just shrinks in. Yeah?
It's called Alice in Wonderland syndrome. I used to have it as well, but everything went fast.
Yeah?
My perception of, only when I was growing up, and my perception of time sped up randomly at different moments. So you can have it where things seem further away than they actually are, closer, bigger, smaller than they actually are, faster or slower than they are, and everything sped up. And it was like I was living in double speed for short moments. So I completely and utterly understand.
You understand, yeah. I've always been interested in the concept of time, right from very young, because of this, and perception because of this condition. And you can imagine being able to see things a little bit differently. Doesn't make you different. It just makes you see things differently. And that was the thing that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have that much support because voices in your head, you're a schizophrenic.
Absolutely.
You've always got some medical condition and that you shouldn't have. But
I never heard of that before. I've never experienced anything like it. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Didn't you? I've never heard of that.
Really? See, there are people that experience it, and you remember. It's such a vivid thing to remember. Because it's a built-in part of who you are. I'm sure that Sarah probably remembers it clearly and being definitely a little bit puzzled by it. Because you are as a kid.
It creeped me out. It did.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And you don't know where it's come from because it comes on unexpectedly.
Yeah, and there's no trigger to it.
No. And then all of a sudden you're sat in a room and the room has shrunk. It's really weird.
That's crazy.
So no, I've never nothing like that.
No.
So I would the author of Alice in Wonderland had it.
Yeah, that's what they suspect. They suspect that he had
Lewis
because
Carroll.
he had they suspect that he had this Alice in Wonderland syndrome
And what
because
if
of how
the first person that made a dollhouse, what if they had it?
yeah, exactly.
Because they could
Well,
see everything in
Yeah,
microscope.
well, you could even go as far as Lilliput, Tom Thumb. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of literature about people that shrink. Yeah, all that stuff. But it could be just an experience within the body you're in and your perception, or it could be a soul thing.
Or could it be
about soul and the epilepsy? You had said
but could it be a shifting dimension and you're going into another realm, as I like to call them, where you're either bigger or smaller than what exists in the next one?
Well, the thing is, you're still in this realm, aren't you? When you're experiencing it, you're just seeing
But
this realm.
well, that's the thing. But are you?
Well,
does it just look the same? And that's why.
Let's talk about realms. Let's just try to understand what a realm is. I mean, anyone got a perception on what a realm is?
I think they're just layers. Like I think there's a memory.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You all run parallel. And this is what paranormal
like
is.
And I go like
it's
this.
normal and it runs parallel to normality.
Really? And you
think for me, paranormal is more normal than normality.
Yeah, but if we talk about this, Andy, we've got to say which one is the normal one.
There is no.
They're all the same. They're all.
So which
they're all individual, but then they're all connected at the same time.
So
it's the same thing. And if time doesn't exist, you could have thousands. Like someone explained to me, I can't remember who it was. It's like a record where you got the groove going round. All you've got to do is flip the needle over one or two, and then you're still in the same place, used on a different time plane.
Okay,
whatever whatever word you use, I use the word realm. It just sounds better.
How is everybody's realm shaped? Like, where's your realm? Like, mine is in layers above me.
No, mine's like cutting cheese.
Okay, and Sarah went like wavy.
Well, yeah, but I've got two perceptions of this because I almost think it's like, so really think of it like layers, really, really thin layers that are all one, but then you can, if you spread them out, they're all different and separate, but you can bring them back together into one sheet. But then also, when I'm thinking of it from that's the physical, this is this realm, the physical linear.
Yeah.
But then when I'm also thinking about like in the paranormal, how we're trying to communicate with things that we can't see, I then think it becomes more like frequency waves and sort of moving like this. And it also on top of the layers intertwines with like this is us and this is another realm and they cross.
Let's bring something else into this thing. You mean, how many of you believe that you could have your soul changed? Like you could have a walk-in soul, a walk-out soul, and
I know of people that claim that's happened to them.
And what is?
I'm not saying it's a soul that's walked into them, but something has gone in and tried taking over their body.
Well, that's a possession, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a walk-in or a walk-out. There are people around, right? Because there's several different dynamics within this, Andy. When a soul tries to come into, or an entity tries to come into a person, that is more demonic, isn't it? That's more taking over.
But I don't agree with that. I don't agree it's demonic. Maybe it's just something that wants to get a message across to somebody else. And the only way to do it is to use a living organism, hence human being. Because it can
communicate. Only evil goes into the body. I think that the other stuff, you just feel their feelings. I don't think they go into your body.
Empath.
Only bad things want to invade you.
Okay. I've interviewed people for different, because I've been interested in the soul for a long time now. And I've interviewed people that claim that they've actually gone to sleep and woken up a different person.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard that.
I need to tell you something now. So about 2-3 months ago, I felt like it was me. Yeah. And then I woke up and I spoke to about 3-4 people about it. I don't understand it. I've never experienced it, felt it before. I woke up like I was a different version of me.
Maybe you were still dreaming.
No, I was out working and shopping and doing
You can
this.
lucidly dream and walk around. You can walk around in a dream state.
But this lasted for. It's still going on. Even now, I feel like I'm a different version of who I was about 7-8 weeks ago.
Is that not you growing? Is that not you growing though, or like when you're waking up and you just think grown a little bit?
No.
Just think of it like this. Let me explain.
Just let me tell you quickly. I knew I was me, but you know when they say these different versions of yourself, I felt like I was a different version of me because other than not feeling too well this week because I've done my back in again, I've felt completely different when I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep, when I eat. Okay. Just everything has just been completely different. And it doesn't makes no sense to me. So I don't expect it to make sense to anybody else.
Let me widen it out for you. The fact is, if there's lots of different dimensions, like we've sort of figured out, each one of those dimensions, it could be infinite. It could be an infinite number of Andys. Okay, across the dimensions. Okay, and when we go to sleep, we actually go into infinite worlds, infinite possibilities. And so what would stop us exchanging with one of those other Andys, one of those other different infinite planes or realms, and coming in as a slightly different version of you?
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot to people without them even realizing. And I watch out people that they really realize because they've shifted their personality.
But then, is it possible for that then to leave and go back to what it was previous?
Sure. It's infinite, so it can change as many times as you want.
Sarah's spidey senses are going off.
We have one without a bad back, then, please. Thank you.
Yeah, but if you didn't have a bad back, you may have something else that you didn't like. So there's always going to be something you don't like about you, isn't there? You know.
So I have a question. Could it be that, because I know that sometimes when I sleep, or I've heard of other people, they have their aha moment while they're sleeping, like they figure out their problem or whatever in their sleep. Could it be that you're just so intensely in the background working on yourself that you go to sleep, and when you wake up, you've had your quiet aha moment and it has just changed?
But I remember the moments because if I have one, I wake myself up, and if it's something I need to do on the computer, the iPad or whatever, I'll get out of bed quietly without waking anyone up and do what I need to do. And I've done that.
I'm single, so I can
quite a lot in the last 12 months.
I've got an analogy.
Okay.
I'm going to have to draw it.
You're going to have to draw. Are you getting the message?
I'm going to have to
need to draw.
And the only way to describe it is to draw it. So,
can I just say, if anyone's not seen Sarah's drawings before,
they can't be worse than my remote drawings. They're tough.
Bob on with that drawing of the ghosts in the cemetery. That was
the one with the pink face.
Yeah, the ones. Yeah.
Hey, why don't we just take a break for a second? And then do her drawing, and we can go take our 3-minute break or minute break, whatever.
I need to use the bathroom. Right, I'll do a 3-minute break. Is that okay? Because I'm in agony with my back. I'll need to take some painkillers.
You should have traded for a better body. Should have shopped
I keep
around
getting
and been
dumped
what are
with
your
this
helmets, Andy? Oh, back. Oh no. What about you? Oh, you got a bad elbow. I'll take the elbow. You come back with me. Yeah. You don't even want to know. So right. 3 minutes 11. See you then. Get your questions in, guys.
Hello, and we are back. All four of us. Woohoo.
Hello.
Did we all get done what we needed to do? No, someone's still eating. Hell.
I did. I got mine done.
I didn't need to do anything.
I just did a quick update for people that
get to the good stuff.
Yeah, I did an update for people that are watching on TikTok because I just leave it running, but in the break I talk to them because that's what you do. So
I go get bomb pops out of the freezer.
Why would you want to antagonize people, Andy?
why not?
Play now.
I don't turn their phone or computer on and make them watch. Not all the time, anyway. I have mods
Not
that
what I
do
heard.
that. Right, before we carry on, so I am going to be meeting up with Dominic and Elaine and possibly Alex. I think Alex is not away on the 18th. So we're going to be going to Rendlesham.
What is that?
Get out.
I'm in
Get out and take your cut with you. What is Rendlesham? It's like me saying to you, what's Area 51, Michelle?
Well, listen, okay? Maybe we're just a little bit more famous. Maybe we're famous. Okay?
No.
So what the hell is your alien
The
place?
Rendlesham Forest is a place just off the east coast of the UK where there was several UFO sightings around Christmas time in 1980 that was witnessed by military personnel. And it was documented. It lasted, the main one lasted over 3 days. I've spoke to people. I've actually been there and had a look at the area, and we've had stuff go on. So it's very, very interesting place.
So weird thing, while you were talking, I kept seeing copper and tasting copper. Like the whole time you started talking about the forest, I start tasting copper and like seeing copper. I don't know why. That was just like, it's really like I'm eating a bomb pop and I'm tasting copper, like almost like blood, like metallic. That's really weird to me. It's like strong. It's kind of scary. Like
Copper?
I don't know.
I haven't got anything. I did my own filling on my tooth the other day, but it weren't copper.
But it feels really.
Don't ask.
Are you getting anything, Dominic? Is there like?
Not really, because that's a personal experience, isn't it? That's what I would look at as, when you're an empath and something's going on with something around you, I would be thinking of that within that area.
Oh,
I wouldn't be thinking of it as something connected to you, but I'd be something, connected through you. How mediums can taste food. If I'm on stage doing mediumship, I can taste sometimes someone's cooking or someone's food preferences. It could well be something like that someone might have got poisoned with a copper or something, and you're tasting it. It's very very like. The last sort of thing I can think of is milk and magnesium or something like that people took a long time ago, and that tasted rather metallic.
This is like blood, like if you bust your lip and you've got that metal taste in your mouth.
Yeah. So you're tasting blood now. See, now that would be someone showing you how they would be feeling within themselves. Obviously, your mediumistic side is taking over.
Ugh. It's. Ugh.
Yeah, no, but that's what it's like to be a medium, isn't it, Michelle?
Yeah.
We don't always get the choice whether something comes through to us. And it could be just you're picking up something from someone who's watching this video, watching this podcast. Or it could be something from one of us, it could be from anywhere.
Yeah, because it feels like my whole front, like I've been struck in the face and I feel things going down my throat and can taste the blood. It's bad.
Could it be?
It could just be a spirit going by. Oh no, it's not. It's not anything to do with that.
No.
It actually, sadly enough, has a feminine.
Have you experienced it before, Michelle? That taste?
Not in my house. My house is usually pretty safe.
It's something that if you've experienced it before, something could have triggered it back in some sort.
Well, I've had this in my own personal life. I've had that feeling. That's how I.
Sure.
know what it is and the taste of blood. Yeah.
It could be a soul
I was pretty
experience.
scrappy when I was
No,
young.
cut yourself with the
Yeah.
ice pop, have you?
No.
But
I'm a
it
pro popsicle eater, thank you.
But it could be a soul
okay.
experience, because that's what we're talking about, is how
Mm.
everything's recorded on
Yeah.
our soul.
Yep.
And the response that you're having is a sort of a little bit of flashback. It's I don't know what to suggest that you do right now. How do you pop yourself out when you've been into a medium trance?
I don't know.
Do you ground yourself afterwards by
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go outside for a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the best way.
Right. Before we
One
move
down.
on,
Only 2 left.
hopefully she's going to be okay.
She'll be fine.
So, I've been waiting nearly 12 months to get this sorted. And the original ones that I bought weren't working very well. Sent them back and they would not be doing a refund or anything. So I now have managed to get them today. The night vision goggles. You want to see it?
Cool.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Right, I'm just going to turn the camera off while I do this.
Oh, look at that little buddy.
Cute.
That's so cute.
Are you okay, Michelle?
Yeah, I went and sunk my feet in the dirt outside.
Yeah.
That helped, but that was
Yeah.
insane. That was.
You ready?
I don't like that at all. I mean, I
No.
get run by things, like
Sure.
spirits
Sure.
that come by. And I'll be angry for a couple seconds, or my leg will hurt really bad, but that
might need to just help you with your protection, how you protect yourself from that stuff. Yeah, but it may be something that could be added into your knowledge that you could consider.
Yeah, I've never everything everyone's tried to keep me, like teach me to block stuff. It's never worked.
I don't believe in blocking. I believe in its manifestation. See.
Yeah. Right. Before we carry on with that, I need to talk about these.
Do you? Do you really?
Yeah, I really do.
All I can hear
These
is
are
Esther.
recordable night vision goggles, 1080, built-in battery that can be changed, built-in SD card. You get 5 hours record time. So
so cool.
the digital binoculars as well with 3 times zoom. It's got two different cameras in it, so you can focus. Apparently, you can focus even though if you have to wear glasses, you can change the focus on it, and they just sit like that, and that's it. You don't make a noise. You can have them on daylight mode or night mode. You have 5 different options for the IR on them, and 1 option on daylight, and that's it. And they are amazing. They really are. And it's got the 3/8 screw in the bottom, so you can put them on tripod. You all right, Michelle?
Yeah.
Oh?
Yeah, that one took a lot out of me.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's a little awkward on dates too. They don't date much.
No, not good.
Yeah, no. It's hard to explain. It really is. And my ex-husband, if I ever do my podcast, my ex-husband's going to go on the show. He's going to actually be my first person because he's a musician and I'm a sensitive. And when we got together, he did not believe, but he didn't know anything about it. But then when we're in bed and, his dad comes through to me and asks where the damn tractor is. So I have to wake up my husband because I can't sleep because this man keeps asking me where the damn tractor is. So I wake my husband up and, I have to tell him all of these details that were long before I had ever came into the picture were gone. And then I almost got struck by lightning. And so in Texas, when it's time to plant, we still have horrible storms, thunderstorms, tornadoes, stuff like that. So I was running out hail it'll be 70 degrees outside. A storm will come through and drop hell on us. So we had baby plants, and I had ran outside to get the buckets. We had planted them in buckets to drag them under the oak tree so they wouldn't get hit. And I could feel the energy before anything happened. The storms are nightmares for me. I hate storms, but I could feel the cracks in the world as it was coming. And I had already called my husband and said, you have got to come home. I'm getting sick. I can't handle all of this. So I'm running toward the plants, and I feel my husband's hands push me down. Like I did like a cheerleader move on the ground, and I'm flat on the ground, and all my hair stood up on my head because the lightning or whatever had gone right over my head and struck the pole behind me. And if I had been standing upright, it would have gotten me. So I was down, and I just started squalling because I thought my husband had just got struck, because it was his hands. Like I felt his hands.
Yeah.
And so I was just crying because I just knew I was about to see my husband fried behind me. And I turn around and there's no one there. So I call him in the house, and I'm shaking, and I said, I thought you did this. I thought you had saved me. And I know now it was his dad. They had the same hands, the same build, the same everything. Yeah. But when he touched my shoulders, and it was like a man's hands, he shoved me down, and I felt that power go over me. And it was his dad. His dad, who's been dead, was dead 11 years before I came along, I think, came through and did that. And I believe that. So that is really hard on a marriage, to have a woman who these things happen to. And it's really unfair for a spouse who doesn't have the abilities, because they don't ever, once you're with them long enough, you link into them. So I would answer questions before he would ask them, or I would be furious at him for thinking that about me, even though he had no, like at the time I couldn't block myself from reading him. So he had no personal thoughts without me. He wasn't allowed to be mad at me and not react and just act like everything's okay. He wasn't allowed to do that because I already knew. Yeah. So it was really, and he drank a lot, which he's sober now, but that was a lot to have an alcoholic musician with a, paranormal medium. That's a hard relationship in a haunted house. His house was so very haunted by his family, because it was family land, generations and generations upon generations, between echoes and spirits and, Indian hauntings, because we were on Indian land. So it was like all of these things. And I think it had a factor in our marriage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that goes into the spirits, Dominique, how did his father come and do that? Like, how is it possible that he became formative enough? Now, I know there was a lot of energy around, but how could he shove me as just a soul,
Well, do you want an explanation, or things that you've thought about? The possibility that we are all probably based on electricity, aren't we? That's what we are.
Absolutely.
I believe in imprints rather than actual ghosts. The energy is imprinted into the atmosphere. And it could well be that you're in a situation where someone else had been in that situation previously, and you just felt the repercussions of that situation. So you just happen to be the person being pushed. So I come across quite a lot of reactivity around certain situations. I see people involved in car crashes, or somebody involved in something that's happened a few times when the atmospheric conditions are there to actually ignite it. And thunderstorms are one of the main atmospheric conditions that can actually transfer this energy into our realm, into our particular part of where we are. And I would imagine that you probably felt those hands coming down as a force on your back. And because your only relation to understanding that would be two pairs of hands, or a pair of hands forcing it down.
Oh, I got you.
You would.
So my human brain transformed the actual
It could do,
Acknowledge
yeah.
it.
It's possible. It's only a possible explanation because, unless you're with you when you're going through that, we cannot experience it the way you experienced it.
Right.
And it's an important thing to understand that energy is transferable.
Yeah.
And people that have encounters with angels say exactly what you've said. I've again done a few interviews with people that have had superhuman things happen to them. They've been pushed out the way of cars, or they've been saved from drowning, and they all say that a relative has come along and done it because they haven't got any other explanation why that would actually happen. And you can really understand that. Yeah.
Can I just jump in on that? So a similar thing happened to my auntie, my mum's sister. So my mum's sister is the youngest of 10. Now, she was just about to cross a road. I know a lot of people do say this, but her dad, my granddad, had died about not that long, probably about not even 12 months. She was just about to cross the road, and she thought she'd seen him on the other side, but not directly opposite, like to the left or to the right. So she stopped and looked, like, oh. And if she hadn't have stopped, there's a car booting it past, and it would have took her out.
See, but Andy, that is a very ordinary explanation to something that happens that way, and you'd be amazed, right, how many people experience exactly that situation within different contexts, but have a near-death experience. Within the fact that if they'd have done something a little bit differently, or if they'd have moved that little bit faster, or they hadn't have thought about something, they could have well been killed. So maybe there is divine intervention. Maybe there is a power that looks after us. Maybe people, when they pass, they still have an imprint or still have an effect on the lives that we're leading. But a lot of people claim that, and they claim that they're being guided. But, I'm not too sure about how everything can be that way. I'm sure there's a lot of things that come under coincidence or
definitely.
Response and stuff. But I would never, ever doubt someone's word when they tell me something because they've been the one to experience it.
Yeah. And that's my argument. When people turn around and say, oh, no, you're lying. Oh, you're full of crap, this, that, and the other. No one is entitled to say that because we wasn't there when they had that encounter. Only that the person or the people that were there know what happened. So that's when I talk about all my encounters. I don't expect anybody to believe me. I don't believe myself half the time, and I was there seeing it. But I know what I've seen. And I've always said, I know what I've seen. I can describe it to you. But for me to tell you exactly what it was, not got a clue.
Yeah, but there is no normalcy. We all experience things differently. And just look at the four of us. We all have totally different lives. Michelle's there in Texas. There's Sarah in Manchester, me on the East Coast, and there's you in the middle of England. And we all have different lives, and we all experience things differently.
About 2 weeks ago, I always lose my keys. Like, I can put them in a place, and I swear to God, something picks them up and moves them because they're just not there. And I was getting so down on myself. And I was talking to this little lady online that messages me. Sometimes she watched the podcast. Hey, Irene. And so she said, never be mad when you can't find something when you're about to leave, because that's the universe stopping you from being at a spot that you didn't need to be. And she said, never be mad about that because that's the universe.
That's a good perception of that. Let me tell you of a personal experience that happened to myself and my wife this week. And it's really, I have no explanation, right? It's bizarre. We were going to bed and we pumped the pillows up so we could sit back on the bed. And underneath my wife's pillow was a present. It had been wrapped up in gift paper and it was a book. Right? I hadn't put it there. She hadn't put it there. How would that get there?
Do you have a housekeeper?
No.
Any librarians?
No, it was really bizarre.
What was the book about?
This was the other thing, right? it was a random book. It was about Spider-Man, of all things. So it was just one of those books that, I mean,
Spider-Man did it. There you go, Peter Parker.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying to you. There are things that we experience that we have no idea why they've happened. And I mean, I know stuff about teleportation and things that can appear and disappear and move. And I could tell you 100 stories about objects that are shifted, but I've never experienced someone putting something under a pillow.
Nothing solid like that. That's
not like that. And wrapped as well, wrapped in paper, almost like birthday paper. It was just unbelievable. And
you two were full of it today.
Who?
Yeah. Sarah and Andy.
Full of what?
Y'all are just like oozing giggly.
They probably got some in jokes between them because
I'm watching a lot of the chat, but then I'm listening to Dominic.
Watching the chat.
And then there's one of my friends who I've not spoke to for 12 months keeps messaging me.
We can't see that. All we see is, the
No, no.
Yeah.
Can you not see the chat?
Can you not see the chat?
Oh, to go on YouTube.
Dominic, can you see the chat? I can't see.
No, I can't see the chat either.
No.
I don't feel part of their conversation because it's almost like it's subliminal to me as well.
So I have the chat open on YouTube so I can see that. So then if anyone puts anything on there that shouldn't be, I can remove it. If anyone starts trolling, I can remove them.
Right.
But no one else can do that other than me or Sarah. I'm not sure if Sarah knows how to do it.
I'll show you this. See, look, if you can see here.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got the chat stream down the side. Can you not see it? Go on YouTube. The chat.
You've got I've got the chat on StreamYard and then the chat on YouTube.
Right.
Because StreamYard runs about 20 seconds slower than YouTube does.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we're kind of out of the loop on that one. So
sorry.
So just give us a basic idea what people are talking about while we're talking.
At the moment, they're talking about Dogman videos.
So they're not even on what we're talking about. They're off on their own topic.
They have a lot of their own conversations. Yeah.
So this is just a chat room for them while we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they still ask questions in there and they get starred and put up in the top corner. So we've got all that going on.
So what questions do we have, Andy?
So, well, someone mentioned about talking, I think it was Joe, she mentioned about talking about future lives. So this is the thing, this is what I don't understand now then, with you saying about time not existing as I don't know what, it's just we use it for measuring and pinpointing stuff. So how can we have a future life if time doesn't exist?
Okay, it's the reference point that we all live in. We live in a linear line. So for you to understand about future lives and past lives, which are really just lives, right? They're not past or future, but we have to define them as past and future so people can understand that there is a particular order to how they see things. Because for me, it's just about lives. Mm-hmm. But if I said it's about lives, nobody would have a definition to know what to place it in.
I was talking to somebody before, but he was saying about this, about how what if like your soul is not necessarily an old soul, like a past life, but a future soul. Like if time is not, obviously we've created time, it's not linear. How do we know it's not someone who is, how did they word it? A soul that has lived before, but also not lived, like everything everywhere all at once. So like a little bit interstellar, a little bit like it can travel. So it's fluid. It picks and chooses when it wants to exist, and I can't even describe what they were saying.
Okay, I sort of get you, where you are. I sort of get it. What you're describing really is somebody that can move in and out of what we would perceive as time. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Well, if time doesn't exist, then we all have the possibility of being able to do that. But the knowledge of your soul should encompass everything that you've ever encountered. Okay, and that would go right across all the lifetimes that your soul has existed or will exist. So
do we have to consciously know that?
But we can actually get into that if we can actually start to accept that everything has already happened. It's only when we start to think of it in linear time that we get confused, because trying to explain away that there is no time when we live in a world that is governed by time and all the things that we do is measured by duration is very difficult to people who are living their lives at this moment in time, because we all start off on the birth date and we run through to our passing date, don't we? We all do that. So to actually say to somebody you're timeless and limitless is almost like saying to somebody, well, you exist, but you don't have any definition of your existence.
Yeah. They have no power. They feel powerless.
Yeah. And I would never say that to people in that way. What I would say to people is that you are the sum total of all the knowledge that you think that you have, and all the knowledge that you haven't actually been able to consciously understand that you already have. Because there's a lot of stuff that we already have that, because we don't have any concept of it, we don't know how to access it.
Yeah, there's a lot our brain doesn't unlock to us. It's like we already know quite a bit that we maybe some of these souls kind of already know a bit more, have unlocked a little bit more.
But Sarah, you don't know what you don't know, do you?
No.
No.
And that's the thing.
Yeah. Can't even comprehend what I'm trying to say.
Well, you can get lost in it.
Here's a question then. You know? How do you know you don't know what you don't know?
Well, you wouldn't know that, because what you have to be able to have is an open mind to accept that things may be different to what you think.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that's difficult for most people, because most people have beliefs
I can do that
are very solid. They come across their beliefs and they carry them around like little badges.
No, mine change every other minute.
But I'm not just talking about
but people in general.
I'm talking about people. If I wanted to talk about you, I would actually say it in a different way. The structures we have in our life are much more fluidic than what we realize. Much more fluidic. And that we can change by having knowledge. That's why conversations are so important, because we all have a little piece of the puzzle within us. That piece is just as relevant to anybody else's piece, and that we may be able to come across things that we didn't understand or didn't know, that we thought that we didn't know, because we're talking to somebody else, and it can trigger some new beginning, some new thought. And that's how we come across new knowledge, not the old doctrine knowledge and the knowledge that people repeat through reading books. That's not really what we want to go to. We want to go to the stuff that has been not really talked about too much.
Yeah.
That's where I am. I mean, I want to discover new stuff. I don't want to go back and find out what the Fox sisters did in 1918 when they first started taking mediumship to the masses, or how they used to find coins dropping out of thin air and table tipping.
That's been happening to me. Yeah. Pennies have been being pumped at me lately.
Yeah. I really sort of past. I want to know what it is we're communicating with. I mean, are we communicating with something that is in the atmosphere, in our thoughts, in our consciousness? Is it a soul communication? Are we doing soul to soul communication? I want to know that stuff.
Do you really want to know? Do you really want to find out what we're communicating with?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do you not think that's going to ruin the mystery and the not knowing of it all?
Well, it's a bit like them saying, right, if these series that look for Bigfoot, as soon as they find a Bigfoot, they're out of a job, aren't they? Because they found them. Yeah. So I get what you're saying, the concept of it. But if we want to develop spiritually, and we want to be able to join the community of spiritual beings that are actually in our multiverse, then our knowledge is going to be key to them accepting us and for us to be where they are. The thing that we never have had in any which way is a comparison to another civilization that's grown into technology like us.
Yeah.
We've never been able to compare how we are to them. And I think that's one of the main reasons we're not allowed to go too deeply into the alien question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're babies. We really are just babies in knowledge.
But do you not think we're diluted with what we're being fed and told?
Oh, our generations for sure.
But this is where we have to really think for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We need people on the cutting edge of the thought process, and not for people to disbelieve blindly, like so many people do, or so many people just want to make fun of stuff or have a laugh about stuff. And there's a time for that when we can actually have a laugh and mess about and have sort of silly snide jokes and bits and pieces. But then there's another time for us to be able to be serious about stuff, so we can explain, so somebody else can start to find their own truth.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, then we're really not doing what we should be doing.
Yeah. When I think about where I was 8 years ago, I didn't speak about anything. Nothing. My whole life I lived not talking about the things that I could do, or for fear that I'd be locked up, for schizophrenia or whatever. So I lived forever in fear. And it was only my girlfriend, who has no abilities, her coming to my house saying, "You've got to come out with this paranormal group." And then I realized there were people out there that weren't going to lock me up for saying little things, but it took a long time. But if I didn't start going into the circles of people who weren't, even though those people, I don't even associate with them anymore. They're not where I am. We're in different areas, but just the fact that I could get familiar, someone may have stumbled upon us tonight and been like, had that moment of, oh, I know that. Like I have.
Yeah. But this is where you have to be able to talk and have conversations.
Yes.
And not only have conversations, but be open-minded, so other people can have conversations within the conversation, because what we talk about tonight might not be that triggering for any of us,
right?
But it may be for somebody who's watching.
Yeah, and that's why I do this. I don't do it for me to, or whoever's on air to be triggered. It's for people in the chat,
right?
Or anyone, not even people in the chat, just anyone watching. It's like to give them somewhere to go with it.
Yeah.
See,
like a release.
I'm really, into communication and talking to people, as probably you realize. But the thing that is important to me is to have amount of serenity around it and acceptance about it, and try to explain it as clearly as possible, but not have the people that are just there. It's a bit like taking a group of ghost hunters around who all they want to do is giggle.
The thrill seekers.
Yeah.
That's different though.
They're
just going for the sake of going. They're not going because they want to do it. It's like people that go to Glastonbury now. They're not going for the enjoyment of Glastonbury. They're going to say, "I've been to Glastonbury."
Yeah, but the
a
thing
lot
is,
of people do.
Yeah, there's appropriate and there's inappropriate, but then there's also a lot of fun to be had if you can find the funny side, and I like that funny side as well, because there's a lot of ironic and there's a lot of things that can be laughed at within it. But the serious nature is we're trying to find where we are, what we're doing, what's our purpose. And
but do you think we'll ever find that? Do you think we'll ever find the true answer as to why we're here?
When we can start to make
I don't mean as an individual, I'm talking about as a collective.
No.
When we can start to make comparisons, when we can start to compare our planet to other civilized, intelligent, industrial communities. We don't have that right now. We don't have any comparisons.
No.
And as long as we don't have any comparisons, who are we to say that religion is wrong or right? Who are we to say that our financial systems are wrong or right? Who's to say what we do to our planet is wrong or right? Because we don't have anything to compare it to. We only have our planet. So we don't know. And as soon as we can make comparisons, then we'll find our purpose and really where we are within the multiverse of all the intelligent civilizations that are likely to be out there.
I don't think any of us in our form now will see it. I think
we know it already. I mean, there's some of us here, Michelle, that know it already. We know what our
but I mean,
path
as a
is.
mass, I mean, like not in individual sense, but like as a mass, I think
as a revelation or as an announcement or as a I don't think they want us to compare.
No.
I just don't.
I believe that.
Yeah. I think that it's none of this stuff about it's scary, it's this, it's that.
Yeah.
It's all that they don't want us to know where they've lied to us and where they haven't lied to us.
They'll lose their power and their money.
Yeah.
That will stop being drones.
Yeah. And then the rich and famous become just nobodies. And who wants to give up the power?
I think that they'll all, just like we look back at the ones that they used to call crazy and now we understand it. I think we will all also be looked back upon for people who think we're crazy. I think that my great-grandchildren will look back and be like, oh, that explains. And that's why I do this, because at any time, my daughter may say, I can't see my grandsons at any time. This may happen. But I have to set this up because if my grandsons have the abilities, I need them to be able to look back and not think they're schizophrenic all of their 20s. I need them to be like, it's okay.
The thing is, Michelle, right? Our legacy is going to be our Facebook pages and our Instagram. That's what our ancestors are going to see. Our trail, our paper trail, the books we've written, the podcasts we've talked on, and our postings on Facebook. That's there forever. Yeah. That's never going to be erased, and that's going to be the record. And it's going to be a lot of things in the future that are going to be based around people's lives that they've written their daily life on a social media site. Yeah. So our legacies are there. We're immortal.
And see, to me, I feel like everyone should still be writing in paper. Don't trust don't trust the electronical side of all of this. To me, I feel like everything will go back to paper. Like you may still have all of this, but at any time they can crash everything. And all of this was
we will.
So I still feel, draw your pictures and write your explanations because you never know. Like you just never know. Why not have backup? If you're gonna have a backup charger,
I would write it down, but I don't know where I put my post-it notes. So normally write stuff on that as I go, and I've moved them and I can't find them. So
the trouble is, right, if we lose all this infrastructure, if a sun flare takes us all out, takes out all the electronics, we are absolutely jiggered. There's nothing that we're going to do that's going to change anything because everything goes down. Nothing works. You just have a blackout in New York for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Nothing actually gets done, and the whole place goes into panic mode, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So you can imagine. I mean, Colin Andrews talks about solar flares hitting and taking out the infrastructure. He says it takes 6 minutes for a solar flare to hit the Earth. Wow. You'd have 6 warning, 6 minutes warning, and you'd literally be back to nothing.
But
that spirit
minutes, by the time they've got that warning, they're going to be like 2-3 minutes deep anyway.
There you go.
Before they put it out.
You're not going to have much time.
Well, I'm not. Even if it did get 6 minutes, I can't even get to the nearest shop. So might as well just sit and wait.
Yeah, but I'm
your
just saying,
family and grab some booze.
Yeah, but everything's electricity, so nothing would be open anyway. You wouldn't be able to use your credit cards.
And it's funny because then the preppers, who everyone calls crazy right now, then they would be not crazy. They would actually be the ones running things.
Yeah, you take out the plastic, the credit cards.
Yeah,
you just think the chaos that's going to create.
I actually don't shop in places that won't take cash. Like now that they've gone all card, like our local movie theater doesn't take cash anymore. You have to go get a gift card or use your credit card. So I try to not go to that theater because if we stop using cash, they've won. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
They can just invent as much as they want, can't they?
Honestly, in the US, we play with monopoly money anyway. So, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
It's just the infrastructure we're used to.
Mhm.
It could be gone. And if it's gone, then where do we go?
Yeah. I just go to my garden. So,
Yeah.
I just go out the woods at the back.
Yeah. I just go kill a deer, have my son
There's
skin
no
it. Yeah.
probably a dead hedgehog or half a badger or something, but you ain't getting much more than that.
Wouldn't it be interesting though to see if if something like that really did happen? Because there's a lot of examples where things have happened where there's been a lot of alien activity, like the tsunami in Japan when it took out the nuclear stations. There was a lot of UFO activity trying to prevent things actually going up in smoke. And I mean, the Japanese believe a lot in the stuff because they witnessed it back that time during their tsunami. So there's a lot of things that if it went wrong in the whole of the world, will we then get to see where aliens really were?
Right.
Right. Quickly, or not quickly. Got a couple of questions. So the first one is from Joanne. Hello, Joanne.
Hello,
and her question is, do you think that our lives are pre-planned / mapped out? And I'm going to give that to you two.
Oh, you can go first, Dominic.
Okay. Lives can be a flowchart. They can be making decisions and making choices of decisions. But previous lives and past lives and all that have led me to believe that we keep going round until we get it right anyway. I've seen people repeating the same lifetimes over and over and over again until they get something right. So that would point to us having purpose, and that would point to it being mapped out, but only mapped out through the free will. So we can make the right choices or the wrong choices, but eventually you have to get to a point where you're making the right choices. So it could be that you don't go on, you don't actually change lifetimes until you've actually gone through the right processes.
I'm not far off from Dominique's belief. I think that every day, multiple times a day, we have a crossroads. I think that our path is set, and if we had no free will, it would go down that. But because of free will, every day we have a choice. Do you wake up in a good mood? Do you wake up in a bad mood? Do you go out? Do you not go out? And when you do those things and you make those decisions, it alters your day as it will be. If you go out in town with the negative, then what is Andy doing?
I don't know.
Oh, Mike muted then. I was asking. Sorry, I didn't even press anything.
Okay.
You have to physically press it on the mouse or the keyboard to mute it.
Oh,
and
that was not a ghost. I
no, I was just going to say, can you repeat what you just said, Michelle? Because I forgot what I was going to ask you.
I was just saying that mine's not very far from Dominique's. I think that we do have a path, but I think that we choose with free will how that path. Do we veer from it or do we continue? Because if you shut up and get out of your own way, there's already a path made for you. Yeah. Like you can just go down your path, but then you choose, oh, I like this guy, or oh, I want this job or whatever. And you kind of choose how you go. And then that is how it is. And I do think that you keep coming back until I know right now, I'm starting to see the things that I never did right before. And I'm coming across some of the exact same people in different bodies. I know their vibration. I know their thoughts. I know these things, and I've came across them many, many times in different bodies and different lives. And I have to choose, like there's the one who I literally could just have, like, no problem. Should have done it a couple lives ago. But this time I chose to just not deal with her. And I feel like I'll never have to deal with her again.
Michelle, I wrote about this the other day, posted it up for public on Facebook. But what I basically said was, what if everyone in our life is a big big cast of actors?
Right.
And at the end of our lives, we all get together and discuss what we've just been through.
Streaming
and how
show.
we've affected each other. Yeah, I mean,
But
it's possible.
Yeah, here's a question for you then. So you're saying about different lives and that. How I was when I was in my teens to my 20s, I'm completely, well, not completely different, but I do things a lot differently now than what I did then. But it does feel like it was a different lifetime 20 years ago.
That happens as you mature
So,
and learn.
Yeah, but then is that not classed as another lifetime, even though if time doesn't exist, then you're constantly reliving this and doing it over and over. So technically, that the life that you're living now, where you feel you've done stuff, and it feels like a different lifeline or lifetime.
Time and life are two different things.
Yes.
Let me put it into perspective as well. You're living the same book. You're just in different chapters.
Yeah. So the different chapters. So what's not to say them chapters? Each chapter is a different life.
Because it's joined into you as an individual. Your journey.
How can we prove any of this?
Well, the proof is in your own personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find that your life is full of different phases. You'll have the phase that you're going through now. You'll have the phase when you get into your 60s. You'll have your phase when you're in your childhood. Every phase has a different feeling to it, a different tempo, a different actual pathway. But within the proof of it is to actually go and talk to some of the people that have experienced lifetime and different identities and the same identities through their lifetimes. When you start talking to people that have actually experienced the same life, that's had the same block in different ways until they've made a change, or so something's happened that's given them the opportunity to make that change, you will not actually understand it. But you need to talk to people that have had that personal experience of going through exactly what you dealt.
Yep.
So I have a statement on how do you prove it. Honestly, none of that matters to me. In my opinion, to prove it to someone, it makes no care to me. I don't have to prove it to anybody if I already have proved it to myself. That is just in my real thoughts, aside from vanity or any of the other human feelings that I'm feeling. I don't have to prove anything that I do to anyone else. I choose to do it to help others.
Can I just come across this a little bit? Because I agree with Michelle. I mean, you're not here to prove stuff, but it does help if you can communicate it.
Yeah.
And if people allow you to communicate it, if you've got somebody who is so intent on disproving something, they're going to live that life anyway in that place. But if you've got somebody who's open-minded, then if you can give them an explanation to know where to start to look, it helps them find their own explanation, and then they can prove it to themselves because it's all about personal experience.
Yeah. Everything I do is to help myself grow and to help someone else who was once in the spot that I used to be in. Because to me, if I didn't think me doing this was going to help anyone out there, I would just privately speak to all of you, not publicly speak to all of you. I only bring my business into the light because I want to help that other person who's struggling the way I used to struggle because no one spoke to me about it.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing is when you voice opinions, Michelle, you put yourself up. It's a very vulnerable place.
Absolutely.
Because everybody else has opinions. So your opinions, although they're important to you, other people might see them in a totally different way.
Right.
Or could have no relevance to them because
they just
it's their life and not yours.
And there's no reason
why they should. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just how some people are.
No, but that's the acceptance, isn't it? Is that some people can think on certain levels, and some people are able to understand different things in different ways. Not everybody's going to see the same thing,
and that's okay.
It's fine, absolutely fine. Yeah. But it's if you can actually be articulate enough to voice what you understand to be so, then you give people a reasonable chance to understand it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or someone that they know, or someone else that's listening, or you never know who you're going to impact. That's why you have to be careful about what you say and do, because you never know. When my kids were little, you know, we did the whole rock in the water to show that everything you do has an effect. But I went further and said, don't just look at the surface water. Think about everything below the water. Always think about what you don't see. Don't just pay attention to your rock cause those ripples. Pay attention to the things that are under the water that you can't see. The fish that you might have bonked on the head with a rock or, you know, something like that. Always don't just look at the surface that you've affected. Look at the actual inside of what you could have affected. And I taught my children that way.
I like the consequence of action.
Yeah. I think that's what we're lacking now.
And also there's a consequence of inaction.
Yes.
So, you know, we can choose to sit here and debate and talk on any level that really we choose to. But the consequence of how we decide to do it matters, because we either get an audience that we're going to engage with, or we're going to get an audience that don't want to engage and just have their own agendas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few shows I won't go on just by talking to the hosts. They're going to go down a route that I have no interest going in. And I have to cordially decline those offers because I know that the things that they permit and that they bait are not going to be a situation I choose to be in.
Yeah, I don't like backstories anymore. I'm doing a different podcast in a few weeks. I won't talk too much about it, Andy, but it's just about the soul and how the soul affects everyone. It's called Soul Cages, and it's going to be about people's opinions on the soul, but it's not going to be about them. It's going to be about how they come to their belief structures and how they see stuff. Yeah, because I think that's the interesting stuff. I think that when we start getting into backstories, it gets tough to actually give it a fresh approach.
Yeah. I was glad when I started going off a podcast that talked all about me, and when I started going on to podcasts like Andy's, that was about everyone and about ideas and thoughts, because it got so here's Michelle Gray. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, what the hell can I say that I haven't already said 13 times in the last 2 weeks? You know what? I may bring up things about me in a topic to work out things with other people, but to just come on a show and be like, hi, I'm Betty Medium. You know, this is what I do. Pull my puppet string. I just can't do those anymore. Like I
might do it. I might do that the first time someone's been on if I don't know that much about it.
And we did that. We did that.
I don't ask the questions that everyone else asks. Where did it all begin? What's your scariest moment?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, I can't do it.
When I hear that scariest moment, I always want to say right now. Right now is my scariest moment.
Right. Thing is, people who maybe haven't heard of you or sort of have like listened to the podcast, they kind of would want a little
do you know
background, but not too much. It's not doesn't define your whole conversation, because if they want to know more about you, they will go and find more about you.
Yeah,
but I get that, but I don't think that's that relevant, really. I don't. I mean, what people know about you, they can find out. You know, they can look at you. Can look at you. The thing about where you are right now is talking about the things that matter and the perception of those subjects. And being able to talk about them in such a way where you open up and talk about it in a very honest way. Now, that's not about my backstory, or about my beliefs. It's about my knowledge, isn't it?
Because I honestly don't care about that I can do it. I want to know how I can do it. I don't care that I can do it, because I don't feel like I do it. I don't feel like I have all these answers. I feel like I am given these answers. I'm just a vessel at which to communicate.
Well, I think if we talk long enough, we'd find a lot more answers.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right, we've only got 10 minutes to go. Well, less than 10 minutes to go. So we've got 2 questions. First one is from one of the mods, Elaine. Hello. Can a soul still hold past life experiences? I know you've talked about it, but as a direct question.
I mean, I'll take that. I mean, I think now as I grow into what I'm doing, I think that now I'm able to identify past experiences in past lives in this life now, but I don't think I automatically knew that's what I was doing. I think that a lot of my gut instinct was not that. It was me going, all right, you've done this before, don't do it again. You know the outcome. So that's my opinion.
Vice versa as well. You can get good outcomes that you want to repeat. And I mean, that's thing. So the experiences that you've had and the experiences you're going to have, the sum total of who you really are.
Yeah.
Because you're not this flesh and blood body. You're this sort of soul that's in there, this plasma-based, recording device that stores memories. And it's that you are. Yeah. And in that sense, I mean, all your experiences are there. It's just whether some people listen to them because the experience is there, but they tend to ignore the inner voice. Mm-hmm. They just go ahead and do it anyway. Yeah. So, if you're asking Elaine about your experiences as in past existences, they're all stored there for you. Mm-hmm. But you've got to want to listen, because if you set your mind to do something, you're going to do it regardless of whether that experience tells you it's good or bad. And most of us feel good or bad about things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
We know, we feel it, don't we? We feel it with everything. And that's the bit that people forget, that they have a feeling. And often they'll be happy to say it after the event, but they very rarely listen to it before they set out.
I feel like when people stop caring what other people think about them, they can hear them and understand more, because I think most people push through that feeling because they're ashamed or they're scared of what people are going to think about them, or they, something like that. I think once they stop caring pretty much about what everyone else thinks, I think then you see those
things move on.
That's a really good point, and I totally agree.
Sarah, your opinion? Can a soul still hold past life experiences?
I think it can, because I think it shapes linking back into personally, I think linking back into the old soul thing, and I do think that it can harbour past experiences. Not that we would consciously know about it. I mean, I think if you have a moment of, what's the word, like if you have, think about it, you have a past life memory that doesn't exist. Where does that come from? Does it come from the soul? Is it your brain? What is generating that? So to me, if that is coming from the soul and what it remembers and what it's been triggered to remember, I think there's no other. Your brain is new. Your brain is a new biological thing. So your soul is what is giving you the
translators.
But with you saying that, like we were saying before about pareidolia, your brain tries to make it into something that you recognize. So could it be doing that with, say, a dream or a thought, and it's trying to put it as it's some sort of memory that you had in the past that doesn't actually exist?
Yeah, you will never know, will we? Because you never. If it was like a significant, if it was a dream that had some significance and it made you feel something, whether you consciously knew it or not. So obviously you're going to think that was a real experience. Our brain does try and trick us very much all the time.
I don't know whether you're thinking out loud or saying something that you believe.
What do you mean?
Well, when you talk, you're going through all the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not actually saying
what you think.
Thinks
verbally. Yeah.
I do think verbally. I do. I just voice what I'm thinking as I'm thinking it. I don't.
You don't have any sort of thoughts about what it should be.
No, I'm very open. I'm very open to lots of possibilities. I've got no set thought on this. I think
what Dominic is saying. Some people think it out and then speak it, and some people speak it out while they're thinking, and that's
very.
Well, I do that as well.
Thought process.
I just open my mouth, and what comes out comes out. I don't think about what I'm going to be saying.
I don't think I do that on a basis.
Yeah, the thoughts about past life can be very confusing for people when they're in their own thoughts. But when those own thoughts are actually coupled with somebody else's own thoughts, it becomes quite difficult to comprehend what is being said.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't really know what you were trying to say, Sarah, whether you were trying to say that you're affected by it, or you're not affected by it, or it's attached, it's not attached. what I was trying to figure out from you is where you stand and how you believe in what your status is within life
Like
itself.
right now, if you had to like put money on it right now, what would you say without anything thought process? What would you say like instantly?
My honest answer would be I have no idea, and I'm still learning, and I'm open to all these possibilities that I have verbalized in my thought process. I have no set, this is the way it is, this is what I think. I am,
and that's okay to say that.
It's good to,
I'm not going to say,
yeah,
I'm not going to say this is what I believe, because I am open to, you could tell me that past life experiences happened because of this reason, this reason, this reason. Our past life experiences are all just what we have imagined because of a dream or something. And I believe you in both ways because of the way that it's explained. I don't think there is until you, and that's just how I believe. I just believe in, I'm a very, what's the word? Agnostic, I suppose, in my view of.
Okay. Look, I appreciate your honesty, but it doesn't allow you to comment on it. It allows you to debate it. But what we're trying to find is the opinions and what you believe in, not.
But my opinion is that I don't have an opinion.
That's what we're saying. You don't have an opinion because you haven't gone through it to sort it out.
I don't need to though. My opinion is that I'm happy to receive and accept and understand every point of view, and that's okay. I don't need to have an opinion.
Absolutely,
I agree with that because it's your opinion at this moment. Because as we were saying, time doesn't exist, so your opinion can change every moment.
Yeah,
that you're thinking about different things. My opinion on what Bigfoot is, or what fairies are, or what orbs are, will change 10, 20 times a day.
It's okay not to have an opinion. Let's just say it's okay not to. But it's also, during the debate, it's good to have a part of an opinion that we can talk about, so we can run off each other, so we know what each other's thinking.
That is what I'm thinking.
That's what she just said.
But it's not. It's not anything constructive. See,
I think
that's the thing.
I may be wrong, but I think where Dominic is coming off is maybe if things had started out like on some of the topics, like auras, I don't know a lot about it. So be like, you know what? I don't really know a lot about that, but I'd like to learn about it. And then I would have just moved on to the next person because I don't know anything about it. But if we're talking about theories and things, then we would work it out together verbally.
Yeah, as a group. So we'd actually find out what each person has. Yeah. And then we'd actually be able to come up with consensus.
Yeah. It's
just also the thing is, none of us know what any of this exactly is. We're all guessing. It's all.
No, well, you say
no one can turn around and say, I'm an expert on this. I know exactly what's going on. Because if any of us are, we won't be sat here now discussing it.
And
I just think that we don't guess. We make informed choices about things.
We make judgment on, like you said, on what people have told you about their encounters you've had yourself, things that have gone on, and not just paranormal stuff, but life in general, all round.
Yeah.
You make judgment of what has gone on, and that's where you are now.
Yeah, I agree. And my informed choice is that I will accept. I'm not making a sort of a judgment or an assumption or anything. Or just my informed choice is that I've had all this information from all these different sources and different beliefs and different people, and I accept that, and I'll discuss each and every single one. And I don't have a set opinion, not yet anyway. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I am a baby on this earth, and I'm still learning and adaptable, and that's okay.
Okay.
It's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right. One more question. I don't know why it's been dedicated to me, but it has. So this is from Derek over in America. I think it's California. Andy, what got you into the phenomena? Was there a particular experience at the time you can remember when you became interested? So for me, it was pretty much as far back as I can remember. I had my first encounter that I can recall when I was 3-4 years old. And there's one of these dancing on the bedroom wall. There's no artificial light coming in, nothing. At the back of the house were just fields. Hadn't been developed on or anything. No street lighting, nothing. And there's one of them about the size, about 4 or 5 inches tall. And it's on the wall and it's going round in a like pirouette and just constantly going round. I lay there watching it until I fell asleep. Didn't make a sound. There's that colour, what you see is what you got. There's no, it was doing this, it was doing that, it was trying to talk to me, it was using telepathy, nothing. It was just there on the wall. I'm lying on the bed with my back to the window and I'm just looking straight at it. And from that moment, I knew, even at that age, I knew that there's more to, I won't say reality because I'm at 4 years old, I'm not going to use the word reality. I knew there's more to being than what we're told or what we're shown. And from then on, I just had loads of different things going on. And that was it. So anyone else want to take that question?
I mean, I've been doing stuff since I was born. I was born with night terrors and drew auras. And I mean, now that I know what things are, I don't think there was ever a moment of my life that something wasn't going on. I just didn't have parents that knew anything about these worlds. You know, they just knew I had imaginary friends and that I drew different than the other kids. And, I got in trouble a lot in school for doing things different. Like, not drawing things with the black crayon and drawing them with different colors, like stick people that were red and green and orange and trees that were yellow. And I just remember getting in trouble because I didn't do it right. So, and then I just conformed, like you have to survive. So I think there was always something. And then I got invited to go with the paranormal group and realized, just started growing and meeting, building my village. So,
yeah.
Similar to me, grew up really with this stuff all around, from the beginning time where talking to people in spirit all the way through to seeing colors and having strange experiences with aliens and stuff. As you grow, you want to know more, you're curious. I was openly curious about finding more, and personal experience became almost a quest. And meeting the right people to talk that through with was also very important to me. So I could actually find a basis for what I was experiencing. And that has really grown since I've got older. I just want to be able to talk to like-minded people that have similar experiences in their own language, in their own way. Mm-hmm. So I can develop and understand what is at the beginning of this, because I know where it takes me. I just don't know why it takes me there.
Right. I feel that what I can do, there is a purpose for it in the future. I don't know what it is, but I know that everything that I learn right now is strategically for something else. I don't know what yet, but I know that everything I do is for something.
Yeah.
What about you, Sarah?
All right.
What? Sorry. I was just reading that lovely comment there. Oh, lovely.
Right.
All right.
So that's a thank you, Lara, for the donation.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you. Sorry, you might have to repeat that last question. I was reading the comments.
It's just the same question that was asked for all of us.
It was, what made you get into the paranormal? Did you have something go on, or has it always been there?
No, I didn't have. I have had strange things happen, but it's just always been an interest of mine. It's always been something that I haven't, been very curious about it. I was probably my first paranormal experience. I must have been about 6, 7. I was in a bunk bed, and I I'm a twin, and we were on the bunk beds, and I saw someone who looked like us but wasn't us stood in front of me, and I remember swiping my hand away and threw it, and it just disappeared. And then I just kind of got interested and talking to it when I was younger, and then I just spiraled. I don't actually remember a turning point of, oh, what is this? It just kind of has always been part of me. But that's an experience that I think is my first paranormal experience that I couldn't explain. But I haven't had a turning point. No, it's an ongoing thing for me. Nothing in particular has ever stood out and for me. No.
The thing is, it's the way it goes sometimes, though, isn't it?
And a lot of it's sort of nurture as well, because my family were all into the paranormal. It wasn't something that we ever did together or talked about very much, but I knew that they had belief, and I just kind of, it was always in my life.
Yeah.
Planted that seed, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think
very blow with the wind.
Yeah, I think the more it's not even the getting into it, because anyone can get into anything. It's getting into it and having a type of understanding, because there is a lot of stuff in the paranormal that does contradict itself, and it constantly contradicts itself, and you are constantly changing your opinion and thoughts on all different things. Even from I seen a pterodactyl, and I'm like, now thinking, was it actually a pterodactyl? Was it something that was cloaked? Do you know what I mean? I can tell you, seeing the pterodactyl, the colour, the shape, how it flew and everything. But was it actually a pterodactyl? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No.
Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. It'll change as you come across different people's perspectives, and as you reassess it yourself as well.
I think everything in the world is about timing, temperature, moon, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, everything has to be in its perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think anything is possible if you get the moment that without using time. You almost have to use time, because I don't think I have the human words to say what I'm trying to say, but you have to be
you don't exist
in that sprinkle, that little crack. You have to be there.
Yeah.
Just in the, it's hard to not time, because we've built our whole world around using time.
Exactly. Because that's all we know.
That right hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. On that note, we are going to have to end it, because we've gone 10 minutes over, and I'm going to get my butt kicked, because I promised I'd only be exactly 2 hours. So
I'm on call tonight, so I'm going to bed.
Oh. So join us on Wednesday, and I'll tell you who's on. Oh, Nathaniel Gillis is on, and he's going to be talking about Past the Demon. So he's a demonologist, as you know. So he's seen past what the demons do and what they are. I had a conversation with him, I think it was last Sunday. I was having a chat on the phone. So he's going to come on and talk about that. I only know a little bit about what he's going to say.
Yeah. I don't want to be a demonologist. That's a stinky job.
So he's gone past that point, and he was asking me questions like, I don't know. You're the one who does it. But yeah, so he's on what do they say?
Wednesday.
Oh, where'd he come? Yeah, and then we got a Global Skywatch next Friday. So on that note, thank you everyone for coming on, and it was a good discussion. I know we don't always agree on everything, but I think it's better that we don't agree, because how boring would it be if we did?
Exactly.
We have 4 very different individuals, which makes a good show.
Yes, definitely. And thank you all so much for coming on. So I'm going to have to end it, and I am going to have to shoot off as soon as we're done.
I'm just going
because
to so goodbye.
I am still in agony with my back, and I need to get some more painkillers. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care and goodbye.